he works with New York.
Hello and welcome to Access Astrology. We just love talking. We're talking ahead of time. This is
We're
uh,
chatty folk here. Yeah.
this is for November 11th, 2025. This is Heather Rowan Robbins. I'm speaking to you tonight from Ronan, Montana, and I'm joined by my wonderful compatriots, Mark
Mark Waltz. I'm in New York City saying hello.
and the lovely Ann Ortling.
The lovely Ann Ortley, also in New York City, for another week. Next week, I'll be reporting in from Florida.
It's exciting. And
I
I
know.
was in New York. We all had a wonderful lunch together. That was just
Yes.
fabulous to
Really
see each
good.
other in person. We've
Really
been
good food.
working together for 2 decades, and it's just wonderful to do.
Yeah.
So, we have some really interesting charts tonight talking about what's going on and all of the strange problems that we've been feeling with Mercury conjunct Mars, with Mercury retrograde, stationary, spinning in place
Yeah.
over the weekend. You
Yeah.
know, there were planes that dropped engines and blew up. There were planes that just caught on fire but didn't blow up. Thank you. There were, major transportation issues. I gather it was last weekend that Mark Hamill was presenting a BAFTA award and his pants fell down as he was walking, started to fall down. So we had to pull them up at the last minute. And you've got a great film of him online holding on to his pants. And because it was a long story that's very funny, but that
Mhm.
that minor glitches and funny pratfalls, slapstick, and serious drama
Mhm.
with this process.
Right.
And
Well,
that's
and one of the things I thought was fascinating was when Uranus went back into Taurus, we knew
hmm
Uranus rules airplanes and Taurus rules grounding, and that was when they decided to ground 4,000 flights. And I'm like,
hmm
oh, it's so
hmm
literal. I mean, that's the whole thing
it's
about
so literal. And Mercury stationary.
and Mercury station, but you never know.
hmm
You just go, Uranus going back into Taurus, so what's going to get grounded? What's going to happen with Uranus that comes to ground? And I was like,
Sure enough.
literally 4,000 planes. You can't.
Yes,
That's
you
the
can't
beautiful
fake
part of
it.
astrology. You don't always know what it's going to be, but when you see it happen, you go, yes, 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 yes. Look at that, it's grounded planes. So yeah, very exciting. So I
And
exciting. Yeah,
yeah, it's pretty bizarre.
astrology. Yeah, astrology is exciting. So very
So we have this, and the Mercury Mars conjunction. I cracked a cap off while I was
wow.
traveling.
Mm.
Went to see my lovely dentist this morning, who I adore, who's done so many of them for me. Has and he and it, this is trining my moon. He not only fixed it right away, made the new crown, put it on. He didn't charge me. He was feeling
Oh,
guilty that uh,
I think you should buy a
his
lot of
crown fell off, and I think was just delightful. So I thank you for
these.
him. We have this today that here we are with the moon in Leo, Uranus, as we're talking about Uranus changing, coming right across the ascendant,
Mm-hmm.
and we feel that shift and change in the air. We wanted to talk tonight about uh, we general Mercury retrograde issues, but also Zohran's chart. You're doing a talk on him on Thursday. Tell
Mm-hmm.
us a little bit about that before we
Well, there's
pull
a
him up.
wonderful man named Danny Larkin who took over running. There was a astrology Big Apple meetup group that started back when Mark and I were doing stuff at Open Center. I think we were at Mark at that point, and Kirk Kahn started it, and he gathered people together. And he's since passed, so Danny took it over. And original core group still helps, so they meet and they bring in speakers, and it's held at Quest Bookstore, which is a lovely theosophical bookstore on 53rd. And Danny has made it hybrid, so people can come from wherever in the world to see it. And so it meets, it's erratic. It's not like every whatever day, but he does at least one a month, and usually on a Tuesday. I'm doing it on Thursday just because that was the day that was worked for both of us. But originally we were going to do a different topic, and then he wrote, okay, can you do Mamdani? And I'm like, of course, it's Mercury retrograde, let's change it, because we hadn't really announced the topic I was going to do. So we're going to do Mamdani's chart and compare it to Bernie, because he's a Bernie baby,
hmm
and he
hmm
also is sibling to AOC, right, in terms of his chart. And then you've got the secondary progressed up there, not the natal.
Oh, I don't have his natal. Okay, I'll get the natal. Hold on.
Um,
I've got his secondary progressed was really interesting, but I won't
really
look his
interesting
local.
against the natal. Yeah. And
Hmm.
then against New York's chart, like, why did we elect him?
Right.
And then against the United States chart, why is, I got friends in Texas weighing in on him. And I'm like, it's not even your state. I said, we're New Yorkers. We elect a mayor. We hate them the minute we elect them. And
Hmm.
then, if we don't like them, we vote them out, but like, give the guy a chance. So he's got a really interesting chart. And I kind of think of him as a Bernie kid.
Hmm.
These kids that are coming in now, the Pluto and Scorpio group, he got a lot of kids out to vote, younger people registering and showing up to vote, which is good. We need them involved in the system. And he is, kind of sister of AOC, who's running around with Bernie doing speeches on,
Yeah, I got to hear them out here in Montana, and they
yep,
packed the house.
they packed the house, taking care of people, working out for, which of course Pluto and Aquarius makes the people come together to transform the culture. So
Yes.
whether it was the French, the French Revolution, the American Revolution, we changed our relationship to kings and royalty, or the Protestant Reformation, where we said, hey, the Catholic Church, England and France got together and did a little treaty against the Pope. It's time to look and say who's in charge, and it looks to be the oligarchs and the corporations. So
Well, that was Pluto and Capricorn, and now we're working on bringing it back
we're
into the
working on
Pluto and
bringing in
Aquarius.
transformation, because what happened with Pluto and Capricorn, there's a consolidation of power, and it can sometimes get a little abusive. So we were like, no taxation without representation, no king, bop, bop, when we revolted. And then, of course, they chopped their heads off in the
Yeah,
French
that
Revolution.
was the original No Kings. This
The
was
original
Pluto was
no,
going back and forth between Capricorn and Aquarius
right.
at the American Revolution, and then it was solidly in Aquarius when the constitutions was
We're
worked
done.
upon.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And
What
so,
I also like, but I'm also seeing, for instance, that China has a resurgence. So is it socialism or is it communism?
mhm.
Zohran is definitely in the socialistic category. So is AOC, and so is Bernie. But as we pulled out of Africa, China swept in and started providing aid to all the countries that we just pulled our aid out of.
Mhm.
China's been buying up our agricultural land here. China is been amping up their effect of the world. So it's, we look at that Pluto Aquarius, it's the power of the people, but that is only as good as Aristotle once found out, as the education of the people and who the people are. And do we want to, is that the power of the people to support individuals, or is that the power of the people in place of the individuals? That's going to be, I think, all tested over the next 2 decades.
Exactly. And the power moves east to west. So it is going to
Hmm.
China. A while
Hmm.
ago, I was China, India. China. Now I'm like, it's China. But India's
Hmm.
involved. They all just met with China. Putin met. They all kind of showed up for a party over there over 4th of July, not 4th of July, Labor Day
I
weekend.
know.
Yeah.
So, but I also, people get very nervous. I'm like, no, you can go to the Coliseum and have a cup of coffee.
Hmm.
500, when the Roman Empire ruled, you can go to Britain, hear Great Bend. The sun never set on the British Empire. At points, it was Portugal. Other times, it was the Netherlands. It's moved around. So the power dynamics as they shift, and we're kind of walking away from power by closing down and shutting down and pulling retreative. So we'll see what happens. But so I'm going to compare him to New York, why we like him, and I'm
Hmm.
going to compare
Hmm.
him to the country, why
I have that
don't
the
afraid
New
we all
York
look the same.
City with Zohan's chart on it right now. We've got
Yes.
that the his sun opposed the moon, the New York's moon in Aries,
Hmm.
and his Uranus sitting right on the IC of New York City
And right
in the
on the
North Node.
sun,
Mm-hmm.
on
Mm-hmm.
New York sun.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to change you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but that looks really powerful.
And
Now,
also his ascendant on the south node in Leo, right?
mm-hmm,
So he's coming in. And notice the Jupiter Venus in the 11th house, which is the workers, the immigrants, because a lot of times Virgos are servants, or people that, the indentured servants, not the slaves, but the people that came over here indentured and then set themselves free through work, or came over here. And that Jupiter and the Venus are on the world point in Virgo. So that's also, a really important. Jupiter Venus is why he appeals to the taxi drivers and the workers and the pedicab guys and the guys that own the delis. That energy, that speaking to the community of New York. And New York is, if you look at the bottom with the Venus and the Mars conjunct in Sag, we are a land of many small little neighborhoods. You know, you can go to, like, I live in Yorkville, but there's Hungarian restaurants. A little further north is Germantown. There's Little Italy. There's Chinatown. There's Little Korea. There's all these towns, sections where people settled, brought their friends, and then that area has, one, that food, but two, those services. Like, you want a really good salt massage, you go to Koreatown over by 32nd, 33rd by the Empire State Building, and they give you this amazing salt massage where they just scrub your body like to death.
Always thought that was such a beautiful example of the
Yes.
sun, that the Venus Mars conjunction in Sagittarius in the third, that every location has kind of
Their
full
town
of
and their
that.
food and their neighborhoods. And also Saturn is squaring that right now. So that's him coming out at 1% when he showed up, and now Saturn's squaring that as he gets inaugurated. Yeah.
This is New York City with its progressions.
Right.
And the progressed moon for New York City is coming right up to this over the next 2 months.
Right.
It's going to be conjunct that, then move into Capricorn. And now we get down to work. First we celebrate, have food in the neighborhoods, and then we get down to work, which is going to be really interesting as it works its way through the process.
Yeah. Mark, what do you see in Zoran's chart?
Let's go back to Zoran's chart. Hold on. And
well, you and I, Heather, when we get going, Mark never get a word in edgewise.
I know, so we have to.
Heather and I have to learn to shut up and let Mark talk.
Yes, and we
Mark talks a lot more when it's just one of us, not both of us. Right?
I'm going to put the Zohran, and this was his natal chart down here at the bottom, and this is him in New York, the relocation chart, which shows Neptune right on his midheaven in New York City. But also talks about how much he's been attacked since then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I noticed earlier that his progressed moon is in Taurus. And right about now it's at the midheaven. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
and
that he would be so
uses
visible.
his moon to appeal to people. That's what it's for, and it's very effective. And to have it at the midheaven really says a lot. He's stepping into a new role.
As a leader, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think he's got a really interesting chart. And of course, he's got all those Scorpio planets in the third. So, one of the things that happens with the Scorpio planets is people tend to project on you. Like, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that. And of course, you do see Pluto in the seventh, opposite his ascendant in the Kuala Lumpur, Kampala, Uganda chart. So, you know, he's definitely, and it's on his Saturn. I just had lunch today with a few astrologers, and one of them was saying, you know, Pluto on my Saturn sucked. I said, well, I have to say, the guy's really been beaten up a lot in the news.
Right, absolutely. I mean, people have Plutoed him and portrayed him as the devil, but he's taken that as, with that Pluto squaring his Mercury, he's taken that as a challenge.
Yeah.
And he's like, I will show up. He's got that Mercury-Mars conjunction that we've got are all dealing with right now in Sagittarius, but it's right on his. He has that in Scorpio. Pluto's been squaring it, and his comebacks have been spectacular in this process. I'm a little worried about his safety when Pluto hits 3 degrees and squares his Mercury again. He's already been through it. You know, it could be just fine. It could just be, he mounting attacks from difficult people.
Or he may need a new crown on a tooth.
Yeah, or he made a new crown on his tooth, which will be interesting. But Pluto is moving past that opposition to his ascendant. And I think if he hadn't gotten so much opposition, he wouldn't have had as much publicity.
Right.
And he wouldn't have done it. Here's a way that Pluto can work for you. Take that challenge head on, meet it directly, see it where it is. Do not tiptoe around it when Pluto's talking to a chart like that.
Remember that his natal Saturn conjuncts his moon. And that really helps him to hold it together. Whatever emotions are flying around, he doesn't get knocked over by it.
Yeah, he just looks at them. And also, he is a Pluto and Scorpio guy. Pluto's in its rulership in Scorpio. So, bring on the challenge. I can handle it. And he also, he is by progression a Scorpio now. So that'll be interesting because in the time he's mayor, he's going to turn from Scorpio into Sag because he's got 2 years more as a Scorpio and then he turns
Right.
into Sagittarius.
And that'll be about the time that Pluto leaves his Scorpio, Mars and Mercury alone.
Yeah.
And you're going to see him lighten up, but he's got a lot of work to do. And
Mhm.
his progressed moon up in that 10th house in Taurus, like good, steady work, which I
Yeah.
think is going to be pretty powerful in this process.
But also the moon in Aquarius, every time people criticized him, it made everybody that was sick and tired of hearing things go, I like him more.
Yep.
So I
That's
thought
what's
that was, that Aquarian can have a real kicker energy to it where it's like, oh, you don't like him? Well, it's kind of like when you brought home somebody your mother didn't like. They're
were much more attractive.
It was they were much more attractive when they didn't like them. And then once, and then you were like, no, I like them. Don't tell me I can't date them, So that it was
Absolutely.
both the rebellion in the New Yorkers because we're kind of like, don't tell us who we can do and what we can do. So
I also see that.
I have a plan for Cuomo, though.
You do?
I do. I think he should move to Florida where his mother is. Lots of women down there. And I think he should run for governor of Florida.
Oh, that would be good.
So I've written him and I've written Chris Cuomo, and I think he should go down there and run for governor because DeSantis' term limit, he's out. DeSantis is out, and it's a year. He'll be able to settle in. They'll call him carpetbaggers. But all of the people that moved to New York, like Cuomo, I mean, all my older friends, not all of them, but a lot of the older friends
I moved from New York.
And he's got a huge voting block down there because there's a lot of New Yorkers in Florida. So
That's
I'm
pretty interesting.
Like, why don't you go to Florida and be governor, Cuomo?
Do you have his chart? Maybe we can look at his some other time.
We can look at his another time. Well, everybody write Cuomo or post on social media that Cuomo should go to Florida and run for governor down there. Get a nice
get out of New York.
Get out of New York. There are lots of women down there. There's a lot of women compared to the men. He'll be very able to date. He'll be near mom. He's got his boat. He'll be able to boat all year long rather than just in the summer like he does now. He's got a boat that's on Long Island Sound. Yeah. So
one of the things that I saw in Zohran's chart is his Venus-Jupiter conjunction in Virgo in the second house. A real sense of resource. So he's got an all-female transition team.
I know.
Which I was very excited.
And people were making noise about it, and all I did was laugh with, because Ruth Bader Ginsburg, they said, how many women? She goes, 9 on the Supreme Court. And they were like, 9? They go, well, you don't think 9 men is unusual. I mean, he's definitely going to confound people.
Yes.
That's the moon trine the sun. And he actually likes it when they're confounded.
Yes, he loves it.
He thinks it's fun. And he loves a good argument, so argue with him at your peril. That Mercury.
He's enjoying it.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So, and I think it's going to be interesting. So, we have some other charts to look at. Iris and
Jupiter station to go retrograde, right? So we want to just mention that.
Yes. Talk about that.
Yeah. Well, Jupiter is going to go retrograde till March because they go retrograde water to water. So the sun's in Pisces, the sun's in Scorpio, Jupiter's in a water sign. So he's stationing to go retrograde. He's stationing and going to go backward. I think he goes to 15. And he's technically in his exaltation. There was a really interesting article by Moses Siragard on Facebook, Siregar. Yep. Don't follow it. Moses is a really good astrologer. And he was talking about Jupiter when it's retrograde, what it does. Because when planets go retrograde, it shifts their energy in terms of how they behave. And although we consider Jupiter exalted in Cancer, now that he's stationed to go retrograde, he's going to bring a different side. And everybody gets all excited about Jupiter transits. And usually they don't amount to anything. But people go, I'm going to have a Jupiter transit. And then they go, like, nothing happened. I'm like,
well, again, it opens doors, but you have to walk through. It's less of a trigger, except that with Jupiter on your ascendant, you're going to gain weight. The Jupiter transits tend to expand and offer opportunities.
Right.
It's what you do with them. It doesn't demand. It doesn't kick you down the stairs usually.
Right.
I
What
don't
about
like a Jupiter transit, a Jupiter square when someone's dealing with Cancer, because
no
it can mean overgrowth.
growth? Yeah. Mark, what do you think about the Jupiter retrograde? Heather and I will be quiet for 30 seconds.
Okay. Uh, it's it's good. It's going to go back over a whole lot of things that need to be gone over.
Mhm.
So pay attention. You can kind of track it on the calendar.
Hmm.
Yeah, it wakes up everything it woke up already. Yeah.
Right. It's trining that Saturn and Neptune again.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Big
So
red moon in
I
water.
want to get through a few charts today. Iris's chart here.
Okay.
Question about her career, looking for the next 6 months. Works in tech, managed incidents, seasoned firefighter. Um, and I make sure to process and people are lining up when things go wrong. Do you see me taking on a new leadership role or being promoted? And so we can look at Iris's chart here.
Mhm.
And she's got the Uranus Mars conjunction at the moment is forming a trine to her moon up there in the 10th house. And we'll be moving into trining this. So, yes, I see every chance that she will be moving forward. What do you see? I'm going to pull up her tripod wheel here because it gives us a little bit more room. So it, I see her, in her progressed moon, it's at the bottom of her chart, but it's been going through her third house. And I think in general, there's a lot cooking for her chart.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree. Well, she's going to have the Saturn Neptune meeting on her North Node, and the Saturn Neptune joins in her 10th house. So
Mm-hmm,
that's a new 38-year career cycle for you, Iris. And it also is coming to her North Node in the spring.
mm-hmm,
So Saturn triggering your North Node because he is in your work house is definitely a big deal. And you have a retrograde Saturn. So he's gone direct by progression, which gives you more confidence in saying, hey, I'm good at this.
mm-hmm,
Notice me.
mm-hmm,
Tends to be a little hard for you to ask for what you want with your chart because the Mercury's burned up a little because he's not close to the sun. So it's hard for you to ask for what you deserve. The good news is that progressed moon going through the third house, people are saying nice things about you. So I think there's definitely an opportunity for promotion. And when Jupiter gets back, he's in your second house, which is okay, let's bring you forward into the world. And he rules your midheaven, which is your vocation and calling in the world. So there's definitely an opportunity for being recognized. It doesn't necessarily look like a lot of money. You might be, we're going to give you the title, earn it, and then we'll give you the money. And the money would be next spring, but the title can come now because Saturn's squaring your progressed sun. So it's, if they offer you we'd love to, but you want to go, okay, I'm up for proving myself and you'll do really well. So I would, take it even if is not quite what you're looking for. So
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Mark, what do you see?
Yeah. Go ahead and be enthusiastic when you're in situations,
Yeah.
especially starting out with a leadership role. You can move into it even quicker
Yeah.
than people anticipate.
Hmm.
So people will be happy they hired you.
Yeah. Yeah. And also the eclipse is on your midheaven when we get to the spring. So that's also a big opportunity. The North Node's going through your career sector. So this is definitely a good time for you to get recognition and also perhaps a new chapter of your career in terms of direction. Because you're born with, even though it's a little wide, in 88, uh, in 88, 89, Saturn and Neptune were joined. So you've got Saturn not quite there yet. So the energy is like, I'm building this new direction. So that conjunction that we're having in February should be very lucrative for your chart in terms of career direction. At
Okay.
February 20th, yeah.
And here is, and we're getting some very nice comments. I just want to say hi to all of you and thank you
Hi
for
everybody.
tuning
We
in.
can't we can't see you, but Heather can. So
I can see their comments, and I'll pass it on. And this is Julie's chart, and she has an interesting story that she said, do we see anything related to career direction? Another one. I have been working in biological sciences and laboratory settings since 2006. returned to school. My kids got older and completed my master's degree a couple of years ago. However, I've been struggling to gain admissions to PhD programs. Any guidance would be appreciated. I currently reside in Delaware. And I found some really interesting stuff about relocating, and I've got some suggestions. But we see the Mars Mercury conjunction. I can never get the words right when Mercury is retrograde. When Mars is sitting there on her sun and
Yeah.
squaring this, this aspect here that's kind of wants to push things. It looks for me, I think that next spring, when Saturn and Neptune head back into Aries and they're going to sit right on her moon and really kind of catalyze her chart. That looks like it's got a lot of potential for me. When we look at her, her composite, her tri-wheel, her progressed moon has been in Scorpio, but it's going to be out in 3 weeks and go into Sagittarius and heading across the top of your chart. I think this is the time to really go for it and see how you can take it from here. What do you see, Anne?
Well, I'm curious why she wants to go back for a PhD. Is it necessary for her career advancement? I'm not seeing a lot of.
I think there's highly competitiveness over here with the Jupiter-Mars North Node conjunction. Like she
Okay.
wants to be the top of her field.
All right, yeah, but Jupiter's in its detriment, so I'm looking at that and going,
Yeah.
I'm a little curious what you're going to pick, because Jupiter, the grammar school's third house, sixth house is high school, college is ninth, 12th house is postdoctorate, and so she's got the South Node in there. And that's a 7-year. Doctorates are wild; they take a while, and so Jupiter is in its detriment next to Mars on the node, and Jupiter co-rules the 12th. So I'm kind of like, and it rules her direction in life. So I'm kind of wondering, is it actually worth the investment for her to do it right now, or would she be better off finding a job in the field?
Well,
And
she's
then,
working in the field. She's just really wanting to take it to the next step, I think.
okay, but that would be my question: is
Yeah.
what's the experience she's getting in the field? And I'm not seeing it as a great time to go back for the PhD. Not to say don't go back, but I would be curious about what, like the investment of time versus with Saturn on her moon in her creative house, finding creative positions that she likes, which may be a different path than she's taken up to now. Because the Saturn, Neptune, the Neptune's on the midheaven and it's square the Saturn. So I'm always a little cautious. Like, well, I have to do this. And Saturn in Virgo is I need a credential.
Make sure that you do it because you want to.
Yeah, you do it because you want to rather than people
We
tell
got another question about which house is the undergraduate. Go through your educational houses again, please.
Third house is grammar school. Sixth house is high school. Ninth house is college. 12th house is post-college. Doctorates, MSWs, also certificates of certification, like if you want to become a real estate agent or something like that.
Right. I noticed that when I look at our astrocartography map, that Mars and Jupiter are on the descendant on the East Coast, and that can be difficult. Can feel like there's a lot of resistance for you.
Yeah.
If the sun was on the midheaven, right down the Mississippi River area, so between Austin and New Orleans up to Minneapolis, Chicago, all that area, straight up and down, the sun will be on her midheaven by relocation, and she might find that it's a lot easier to get things done out there. The other place would be the Mercury Uranus on the midheaven. That would be just west of Denver, so within 200 miles of the Rockies would be another good place for her. So
and
those
that
are
would be good
suggestions.
living on her Mercury line because her North Node's in Virgo. Yeah.
Right. So
and that would shift all those Virgo planets of you being a servant into the 7th because you're going to be further west. Right? So, yeah.
So, any comments, Mark, on what?
No, not right away. I think we pretty well mentioned what has
on that.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting ready.
My concern.
Definitely look at that need for a degree.
Yeah.
For more degree. You may need the experience more than the learning.
Right.
You learn from experience, you learn from books.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know,
Right.
play with the.
Yeah, and with the South Node going through the 6th house, that's a lot of energy around
Mm-hmm.
practical experience. But also Saturn, Neptune, and square in Virgo is I need more credentials. It's like, no, you probably have enough credentials. You need more, like, let me get out there and find it.
Mhm.
You know, but that's that, maybe get more. The Neptune kind of gives an illusion of what you need.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be my, but they're meeting up in your first house on your moon.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
look for a mentor. You've got the square to the Venus at the top. Look for a mentor that supports you. And that may be, or go back to some of the people that you studied with or you worked with when you were younger, you know, when you were working in the field earlier, and see if there's connections there that can get you a position that you kind of like. So, yeah.
So I think we're in closure here time wise.
Are we already?
And
Man, it goes fast. Okay.
it does go so fast. Mark, would you like to take us out on a meditation that helps us deal with that Mercury Mars conjunction in Sagittarius without breaking a crown?
Right. Good.
Or not our crown, maybe the
Not
crown.
our crown, right? Yeah.
All right.
Good. Mercury Mars conjuncting it speeds up anything that we have to
Anything.
communicate.
Mm-hmm.
And this Mercury is going retrograde. So it's referring to what has happened and look to earlier before Mercury turned retrograde.
Mm-hmm.
Look at all that area that he's going to go over. Goes back to I forget what degree it goes back to, but it'll be in Scorpio.
Scorpio.
I think I want to say 9 Scorpio or 15.
Something like 9 Scorpio. So look at all that, and especially if in your chart there's something that lines up with that, then you want to ask yourself, how is that playing out in my life?
Mm-hmm.
So take a moment, slow down. The Mercury Mars wants to go faster. You're going to slow down, watch them in slow time, and see how Mercury and Mars can bring an energy for Mercury to travel backward with and then come out again.
Yeah.
Be safe, everybody.
Okay.
We thank you.
Thanks for tuning in.
Take care. And this is Heather Rowan Robbins signing off from Ronan, Montana.
Mark Waltz from New York City.
And Ann Ortley in New York City, too.
Yep.
And goodbye. Take care.